Hi there, I'm Thomas, I'm a third year astrophysics student and I am a YouTuber. And as a YouTuber, I see loads of channels that have thousands, if not millions of subscribers, and they can get to tens of thousands of views within a matter of days. What's their secret? Well, part of their secret is they've been here a lot longer than I have, but that doesn't mean there aren't things that I can do to try and close that gap a bit and get up there. In this video, I'm going to go over how YouTube stacks the deck against smaller YouTubers, giving them a much bigger hill to climb to catch up to the big guys. And also how I believe that hill can be climbed a bit faster. But before I talk about climbing that hill any faster, let's first talk about how YouTube shows people new content. If you've been kicking around on YouTube for a while, you'll probably have heard of the algorithm. Now, this is a very complicated piece of software that decides what to show you next on YouTube. The software wizards behind the scenes at YouTube, they don't actually have a full picture of how the algorithm works, because it's the product of generations and generations and generations of extremely complicated machine learning, where the machine makes a lot of the decision. But they can tell it what to do, what to maximize, what to minimize. It's not constant, it changes with time and it can be changed. You might remember a few years ago when there was a stream of high profile incidents of advertisers paying for ads on YouTube, and those ads being served alongside content the advertisers weren't happy with. A series of videos got completely buried, especially ones surrounding video games that are quite violent. Now, this kind of shows why the algorithm exists. It exists to make YouTube, and by extension Google, money. YouTube makes their money by advertiser revenue. But they can't just show you endless adverts, though at times it does feel like they do. What the algorithm wants to do is keep you on the platform as long as possible, so that you watch as many ads as possible and make YouTube as much money as possible. Sure, they could throw 10 ads at you in 30 minutes, but if you click off YouTube at the end of those 30 minutes, then they miss out on showing you 30 ads in a 4-hour YouTube rabbit hole watch session. So their aim is to show you content that keeps you on YouTube for as long as they can. So how do they do this? Well, there are a variety of places that YouTube shows you new content. There's the homepage, where you'll typically find the number of videos from channels you're subscribed to and some similar videos that YouTube thinks you might watch. There are also YouTube recommendations, which are normally found down the right-hand side of the video or underneath the video on mobile. And you'll normally get one of these recommendations played on autoplay if you have that turned on. Now, the content you see is dependent on what YouTube thinks is the likelihood you'll watch it and keep watching new content. They're not going to show you a video that they think you'll watch, but will turn you off the platform and decide, you know what, no, I've seen enough, I'm going to go to Netflix. So instead, it tends to serve you content from similar creators that have reliably good retention rating. What that means is if you have 1 million subscribers, it's a lot more likely you'll get your content served to new viewers. For example, if you're watching a Jay's 2 cents PC Tech video, then you're likely to get suggestions from the likes of Bitwit, Paul's Hardware, and Linus Tech Tips. YouTube doesn't really want to take risks. They don't want to risk that you'll get bored. They don't want you to get to that point where you say, right, I've seen enough, and go and watch something on Netflix. Small creators like me don't have a proven track record yet. And frankly, they make it bleeding hard to get one. So how do we break through this? Well, to be honest, it's not really something that I can do on my own or any small creator can do on their own. We need you guys. Now, the way that small creators can cut through the noise is to get more people seeing their content. And if YouTube won't show people, then viewers need to, which means one thing: shares. Now, shares, they help all creators on YouTube. Now, please do not stop sharing videos from big YouTubers. It helps them as well. But it helps small creators even more than anyone else. I think that shares do the most for small creators. Now, to show why I think this, let's look at a few case studies and some maths. Now, I went on YouTube and I looked at some of the recent videos from a few very big YouTubers and some moderately sized YouTubers that I watch. I've also taken my own recent video performance from a fairly typical video at the minute, my video about what apps I use in my physics degree, which if you haven't seen, I'd recommend you watch, it'll be in the top right hand corner. I'm going to look at the effect of a single share on videos from Linus Tech Tips, iJustine, Tom Scott, Holly Gabrielle, Dr. Becky, and Ruby Granger. These videos have all come out in the last week as of time of writing, and they've all had time to get to a fairly stable level of they've had their explosive growth and they've reached a sort of peak. Now we're going to consider what I think is a fairly reasonable follower. This person is going to share the video on Twitter and they've got, roughly speaking, about 100 followers, about half of which will see the video. We'll assume that none of these 50 people have seen the video that's been shared, and while that might be a little unreasonable for the larger channels, let's just go with it. It makes the maths a little easier and shows my point. In fact, if some of them have seen it, it makes my point even more relevant. So what this means is that we're going to boost the view count by about 50 viewers. So let's have a look at the views at the time of writing. So as you can see, there are a wide range of views with 1.3 million at the high end with Linus Tech Tips and about 130 at the low end with me. Now let's add on those 50 potential viewers. Now, those 50 potential viewers, they're a nice boost for any video. No one's going to say no to an extra 50 people watching their videos. But I'm pretty sure you can see that an extra 50 views doesn't mean a lot compared to the size of the bars for LTT or Tom Scott. And in fact, if this wasn't a logarithmic scale, you wouldn't really see much of a change in any of them, because in the grand scheme of things, 50 on a scale of 1.3 million is nothing. So instead, let's look at percentage increases. To do this, it's some pretty simple maths. To work out the percentage boost, we simply divide 50 by the number of views the video already has. We then multiply by 100 to get a percentage. So we see some fairly modest boosts to most of these. Linus Tech Tips and Tom Scott don't even get a 1 in 20,000 boost. But then, oh, whoa. This is why shares make a bigger difference to smaller YouTubers. Those 50 views can boost one of my videos with a little over 100 views by almost 40%. So yeah, this is why I think that shares can make all the difference. But I realise this may smack a bit of jealousy and wanting to grow. But all YouTubers want to grow. I accept that it takes time. That's just how it is. YouTube is not something that you can just explode overnight and keep going. But I still think this video needed to be made to really highlight the difference that you can make, just by scrolling down a little and clicking share. So, thanks for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's been interesting. If you look for something else to watch, then I would recommend my recent video on 20 things I learned in 2020. But before you do that, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you don't miss any future videos, and of course, share this video. You now know how much of a difference it can make. In the meantime though, I've been Thomas Rintoul, and I'll see you in my next video.